before, I knew I was sounding really rugged. And that was because I had an onset of a virus. It was considered an unidentified virus, but so much for that. I know I still sound a little stuffy still, but that's okay. We've gone through. Today, I'm going to discuss what's really going on in and around our world today. I don't know how often you follow the news, but there is a spike in violence against women, domestic violence. I have been following the news, and right now in Australia, of all places, yes, Australia has a spike and women being attacked, being assaulted, and even being murdered. We know that domestic violence is on a spike, regardless whether it's here in the United States or whether it's abroad. But this seems as though it's a certain taboo that many in our Congress, or shall I say, country's parliament, are not willing or wanting to address, as though it has now become what I will call a genocide. A genocide meaning there's only one target. That target happens to be women. Why? Could it be there are many who that are men who are or let's just say their true faces are showing itself being a misogynist, whether they have poor relationship or an estranged relationship with their mother, their grandmother, their auntie, a neighbor, or some female caregiver. But for some reason, misogyny seems to be on a rise. It would be great to probe into the minds of many men today. What is it about women that would cause you to want to get rid of them? Is it competition? Are you not able to fulfill your part as a man? What is it? Well, from a domestic violence survivor who have now turned thriver, and I only use thriver because I have accomplished so much within the 35 or so years that I've been free of being subjected to domestic violence. But it's sad that even though there are so many, several survivors, not many of them are able to move forward. And the question is why? Many had relied so much on their husband, their significant other, their partner, because their partner or husband, significant other, may have been the breadwinner of that home. But it all falls down and comes to power and control. Power and control is a very, very strong, lethal weapon. And I say it's a strong, lethal weapon because once you have someone under your thumb with power and control, you can dangle them like a puppet, okay? You monitor their every whereabouts, causing them to have to constantly become hyper vigilant, not feeling safe in their own environment, even after they have left the abuser or perpetrators or even stalkers. Um, so I'm talking to you today as a survivor turned thriver. What is it that our country and others can do to keep this from happening? there are many who have several suggestions, and so do I. My suggestion would be stiffer and enforce laws against domestic violence. Domestic violence for so long has been warded by our judicial system. It's not important. But let you go ahead and kill a dog or any type of animal. We're seeing how fast the judicial system wants to penalize you. But when it comes to women and children, it has become as though we don't even matter anymore. Hmm. Who want to be, or shall I say, wear the pants in the household and tell the man what to do. And then you have men who feel or believe it is their role to be man of the household and tell the woman what to do. Well, let's research that, or shall I say, let's sit here and think about that for a bit. I know that there is nowhere in the Bible that saying that a man control, or shall I say controls a woman to a point where he's now her master, so to speak. Okay, I'm gonna use that word, master. Individuals who may chime in and start quoting scriptures about the responsibilities of a man, rightfully so. By all means, do that, because I'm not saying anything negative about what the scriptures or the Bible say. I'm clearly saying nowhere in the Bible does it say that a woman is supposed to jump to everything that her husband or her significant other tells her to do. And let me break that down even more, because I'm certain somebody is going to try to dissect that too. Um, there's nothing wrong with a man cooking. Now, is there? There's nothing wrong with a man cleaning a house. Now, is there? Or a home. There is nothing a man doing many things that a woman has to do. She don't have to do it, but she does it. Just like there's nothing wrong with a woman cooking. There's nothing wrong with a woman cleaning the home. And there's nothing wrong with a woman doing her wifely duty to her husband and vice versa. But when it gets to the point where a significant other or a partner or husband believes or puts stress on a woman to have sex, yes, that's your wife. And yes, the Bible says that she's not supposed to um, keep herself from her mate and vice versa. But nowhere in that Bible or any holy Bible or any holy book, shall I say, I sit corrected, because there's only one Bible, there's only one God. But nowhere in any other religious book does it say after that husband, that significant other, that partner beat the crap out of his wife, out of his girlfriend, out of his significant other, out of his partner, is she supposed to just lay there and give herself to you? I don't think so. I don't think so. And the same thing applies to women. I don't think that there are innocent women out there either. There are women who beat on their husbands, their partners, their boyfriends. Could it be because that's what they were exposed to when they were young, seeing their mother being the enforcer in the home? Hmm. We all have it all screwed up. We just have it backwards. You have men beating women, women beating men, kids being caught in the crossfire. Why? Why? Well, like I said, Every time I come on here and do a recording, a live one, it's going to be real talk because I'm not holding back and I don't work for anyone. I work for me. Okay? So it's going to be real talk and keeping it 100. Okay, I don't sound good. That's because I'm still fighting this virus. Like I said in the previous video. But I feel a lot much better. Whole lot better. And for those of you who are so into makeup and hair being done, I'm sorry, but I love my natural look. And the only time I put on my makeup is when I'm going to a special occasion, such as weddings, funerals, um, maybe baby showers, things of that nature. I will do up for it. Even going to church, I don't wear makeup. Why? God is not looking at my face or my hair or what I'm wearing. He's looking at my heart. So for all of you out there who may want to chime in and may want to say something negative about me not having on makeup or me not fixing my hair, I'm good with it. You know why? Because I'm good in my own skin. I love me, and that's all that matters. I love what I look like. And I'm good with that. So good. But we're going to talk about that on another episode about women being comfortable in their own skin because there are so many of you beautiful women out there that are just simply not comfortable in your own skin. Why? Could it be because when you were smaller, someone, a family friend, mean girl, mean boy, said you were ugly duckling or you was just not attractive? I could see that because it happened to me. Yes, it happened to me. One uncle in particular, and he know who he is, used to always call me. I say no, scratch that. He used to call me a frog. I don't know where I got ugly duck from, but he used to call me frog face all the time. Every time I would come around that one uncle, he always called me frog face. Yeah, and as a child, that hurt. That really hurt. But I never showed it because I wanted to feel strong. I wanted to feel like a big girl and be able to take any blows. So I put on a tough skin, but it hurt. It really hurt. Even my aunt, who is no longer alive today because of breast cancer, may her soul rest in peace, she knew it wasn't right for him to call me names. Everyone in the family knew it wasn't right to call me names, but they allowed it. They allowed it. But that's not the only thing, you know, being called names. I used to be called pug nose, pig nose, flat nose. I was called everything other than my rightfully born name, Yolanda Jones. Yolanda, yes. It bothered me. I started being called names in junior high school. Matter of fact, no, as young as elementary. Yeah, that's the age when they're just ruthless. Yes. I was called Panda. That's what it was. Fifth grade, people started calling me Panda. Why? Because I had dark circles underneath my eye. Those are called pigmentations. My mother has it, and a lot of other individuals in my family suffer from skin pigmentation. And I let that bother me. And it bothered me for a long time until I really started dating. I would say around 16, 17 ish. And then I started seeing that the boys who I was dating that didn't even phase them. They didn't see that. They saw beneath those dark circles. They saw beneath this pug nose. Yeah, they saw beneath all of that. And then as I became older and older in my 20s, I was getting attention. So I started putting all of those name callings behind me. But I share that and I say all of that because there are still women today that still struggle with the name calling. I can recall my daughter, we had a discussion and she brought it to my attention. It had nothing to do with the conversation, but she brought up, yeah, that's also when you used to call me names when I was pregnant. You used to call me Walrus. And I'm like, this conversation went went left field on a total different topic. And how did that happen? And then I had to look at what she was talking about and acknowledge the wrong that I did. My daughter's 34 now, and my grandson just turned 5 today. But I did not realize me calling her a walrus. Oh my goodness, you looking like a walrus. Oh, girl. I did not realize that name calling hurt my daughter. Why didn't she tell me? And I asked her, why am I now knowing this 4 years, 4.5, almost 5 years later? She said, because you wouldn't have listened. That hurt. That hurt. So I had to do, excuse me, let me drink some of this tea. So I had to do a self reflection on me again. It seems like so many phases of my life, I'm doing a self reflection because anytime someone points something out to you of what you're doing that hurt them, that's when you need to stop and do a self reflection. Wow, I didn't realize I was doing that. Well, I apologized to my daughter because I didn't know that that was hurting her. But and then I tried to use an excuse and say, well, back in the day when women got pregnant and they got bigger than, or when they became bigger than their normal size, we all joked about that. I saw and heard my aunts and uncles and grandparents make fun of my aunts when they got pregnant. So I thought growing up that was, the norm, calling names. Okay. And then, of course, like I previously shared in this video, when it was done to me in elementary school, as early as elementary school, I didn't think anything of it. But you know what? Words hurt. They really do. Words really hurt. And again, many carry that hurt, that pain into adulthood, never have had it resolved, never received counseling for it. So then when they go off into relationships, it spills over. It has a tendency of spilling over into relationships, especially when it's not addressed. But again, I will address that topic about being comfortable in your own skin at a later time. But again, my focus is on domestic violence and what's going on right now in our country. Men, please, I'm asking this of you. I know you've been hurt. Many of you have been hurt by a loved one, someone who was supposed to protect you, take care of you, safeguard you from the stranger dangers that are out there. But you were hurt. You was betrayed. Whether it was from your mother, your grandmother, an auntie, a female neighbor, but please, we have to stop this killing and this violence against women. Because the women that you're killing, the women that lives you're taking, they're not the individual that actually done what they have done to you when you was a child. These are mothers, these are aunties, cousins, neighbors, sisters, grandparents that belong to someone else. They don't belong to you. And I'm asking, I am so sincerely asking that you get help. And if you're chiming in just now chiming in and want to know what this live video is about. It's about domestic violence. It's about the spike in violence against women, the spike in killings against women, not only in the United States, but in Canada, in Australia, and even in India, and other countries. And I have heard over and over and over so many say, well, in other countries, that is their culture. Well, like I have said in other videos or podcasts, this is the United States. We don't beat our women. Our women are not your children. And you don't beat your children either. When I say beat, I'm talking about beating them to the point where you ended up killing them. You don't do that. Now, I remember when I was in grad school and I chose a topic that was so taboo. The difference in child abuse and spanking. Oh, yeah, that was a hot topic back in the 90s. Because during that time, child abuse was really becoming on the rise. Like it's been a huge cycle because it's coming back around again. Child abuse coming back around again. Innocent, vulnerable babies, infants, toddlers, kindergarten. Why are they having to be tortured, beaten, and killed by the hands of people that are supposed to protect them? I'm sorry. Then again, I'm not sorry, because to say I'm sorry is to say I'm sorry that I'm coming at you. No, I'm not sorry that I'm coming at you. Somebody need to come at you. Somebody need to. Oh, and don't let me get on CPS. Oh, please don't let me get on CPS. That is another story in and of itself. Because every time, several times, a child is removed from the home based on alleged allegations and placed in homes that oftentimes CPS don't even do background checks. When I say background checks, I'm not talking about, oh, are they working? Has there ever been any arguments in the home? I'm not talking about that mediocre, basic, general stuff. I'm talking about big time background, criminal checks. And of course, there are even deeper background checks that you can do on that a lot of these companies, organizations can do on people that only certain levels of the judicial system have access to. That's the background check CPS need to do on families and the people that these families come in contact and associate with. Because every time CPS place a child in a home, what happens? The child dies accidentally. Imagine that. Yes, I'm getting so upset. I'm getting so uptight because children should not ever be in the crossfire of domestic violence. Children should never be in the care of individuals with serious mental health. Oh, you want to talk about the type of mental health I'm talking about? I'm talking about sociopathic. I'm talking about psychopathic. I'm talking about schizophrenic, paranoia schizophrenics. I'm talking about individuals who struggle to be compliant and stay on their medication when it comes down to bipolar. Yes, there's plenty of more. Hey, I got PTSD, but mine's under control with medication. My PTSD came from child abuse. So that's why my heart is so passionate about seeing and hearing and reading articles about children being abused. Nobody was there to protect me. Yeah, I'm so livid. CPS, CPS. And you always hear, oh, they're overworked, underpaid. Well, you know what? You chose that field. Didn't nobody put a gun to your head to go into becoming a social worker, a child protective service worker. Didn't nobody put a gun to your head. You chose that field for whatever the reason. Maybe you wanted to try to save all children. Who knows what your reason was? But the majority of people who go into certain fields go into those fields because of personal reasons. Whether they're a psychiatrist, a psychologist, an LPC, or an LCDC, someone who was on drugs for a long time. And they decide, wow, you know what? I'm sober now. I'm drug free. I'm going to go to school and become an LCDC because I know how to reach those people. They'll listen to me because of my experience. And you know what? You're right. I have much respect for recovery addicts, much respect for individuals who are recovery alcoholics and are paying it back to their community, becoming counselors. I applaud you. If nobody else applauds you, I applaud you. And CPS, oh my goodness. You know, every time I even think of that type of organization, it just burns me. How many children have died because of a decision? CPS chose to put a child back in a home that they initially removed. How many? How many more does it have to be? CPS needs to be retrained. I don't care how much education, how much book smarts you have. It's all about common sense. Common sense and morals. Morals. Something many of you don't even have because you lack it. You're so more interested in trying to clear that case off of your desk instead of really having a child or children's best interest. CPS. Wow. I have and will never have any respect for CPS. None whatsoever. Yes, I'm certain there's going to be so many that's going to probably reach out and try to connect and say their piece about their position and that all CPS workers are not the same. Oh, well, you know what? I'll listen to that when I stop hearing a child being returned to a caregiver and ended up dying. Okay? That's when I will start listening. But until then, I will not listen to a CPS worker. Again, I'll listen to a recovery addict and a recovery alcoholic a lot quicker than I will listen to or respect someone from CPS. Okay, we're talking about domestic violence. This all has a lot to do with domestic violence because you have children in the care of unstable, unhinged individuals. Do you ever think about, what you're doing to that child? And for those of you out there who are molesting and just damaging little babies and children who are vulnerable, your day is coming on Judgment Day. Your day is certainly coming. And I don't want to hear from all these mental health individuals talking about, well, you have to understand they sick. Yeah, they sick, all right. They're really sick. Anytime you molest, put your private parts or force your private parts into a child, a toddler, an infant, you are beyond sick. You're beyond sick. Y'all haven't heard the last of me. Oh, you haven't. And now that I know how to connect and get on social media and voice what I have to say, oh, y'all haven't heard anything. Oh, I may sound like I'm a little country sometimes because I live in a southern state, but I'm originally a northerner. I have no problem saying that. So every now and then, certain words I may say may come off more northerner than southerner, but that's okay. You get what I'm trying to say. You get what I'm saying. It bothers me to the core. To the core. I've been asked several times, what made you decide to establish your own private domestic violence organization? I'm blessed. I have been asked that by several people. For one, I don't trust many 501(c)s. I volunteered in my 30s at several domestic violence agencies locally. I don't see many of those residents receiving any, I would say, proper care when they come into a lot of those domestic violence shelters. Yeah, it's a place for the, like so-called a safe place. Yeah, I see that. I know that. Yeah, they're getting room and board, roof over their head, and they're getting fed. Okay, okay. What else are you doing for those women and families? The domestic violence shelters I volunteered in and some I worked in, children ran raggedy throughout the facility. Mothers weren't watching them. There was no structure. They were able to do whatever they wanted to do. There were even some that even told the abuser where they were staying. Not only did they put their lives and their children's lives in danger, but they put every other employee and every other resident's lives in danger. That's what made me no longer want to volunteer my services at any domestic violence shelters. It's not as controlled as many want to believe. And many, especially the ones that's been around since the 70s and 80s, who have merged with many other 501(c)s just to be seen, to be recognized, so that the world can see that they're doing such a great job. They're the main ones. It's not about protecting the women and children in their facilities. No, it's not. Not at all. It's about their recognition within the city that they live in from higher government officials. Oh, domestic so-and-so doing a great job over there in such and such a city. We need to recognize such and such. Yeah. What's all the recognition if these same women and children return? It's like a revolving door. And that I've seen too. A revolving door with a lot of these domestic violence shelters. So that's why I don't want to, how shall I say, partner, so to speak, with a 501(c) that's especially been around since the 70s and 80s. My hands clean. Okay? Very clean. So, but that'll be another topic too, about the types of domestic violence shelters that are out there for our victims and families of domestic violence. And then you have so many of them who want to compete with each other. What for? We all in this together. What you competing with another sister domestic violence shelter for? Because they got more residents coming in, they get more sponsors, they get more donations, why are domestic violence shelters competing with one another? If anything, you would think they would want to work together, and if their facility is full, that evening when they get that call through the hotline. Let them go on and refer them to a sister domestic violence shelter who can do just as good as them. There should never be where someone calls a domestic violence shelter hotline to receive safety, and they say that their facility is full. Mm-mm. That should never be. That should never come out of their mouth, whether it's full or not. They should direct those individuals to a nearby domestic violence shelter. But it should never come out their mouth that their facility is full, whether they're saying it to a victim or whether they're saying it to another judicial organization. That should never come out your mouth. Our facility is full. Because if that's the case, if your facility is full, all that donation and sponsorships that you're getting from high rollers, okay, you need to be opening and groundbreaking another building and or add on to what you already have. Since your facility is full, right? And you're getting so much donations and sponsorships from high rollers, where else is your money going? Where is the money going? Oh, I forgot. 501Cs, y'all don't found on y'all don't have to report, every nickel and dime and penny of what you're spending. You can just spend without no accountability. Okay. Well, I'm glad I'm not a 501C. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some 501Cs out there. They do marvelous things for the community. Marvelous. Marvelous. And they don't just always have to be in the spotlight either. They don't always have to be in the spotlight. Believe it or not, when I've done my research, I came across, oh my goodness, at least over 100 and something domestic violence shelters here in Texas. Wow, I didn't even realize that. All I remember is that back in the late 70s, early 80s, violence shelters. But then COVID hit. And like I've said so many times before, soon as COVID hit, many passed away, bless their souls. And many were laid off from work, lost their jobs. So what happened? I can tell you, so many domestic violence agencies just started popping up like wildflowers. Why? Because it became a spike in domestic violence in people in individual households. Yes. I would have never thought that families would have such a difficulty to live underneath the same roof. Imagine that. Well, they used to say, can't live with family. I can vouch for that. Especially if they don't have the same views and the same cleanliness as you. But yeah, there were a huge spike in domestic violence during COVID. All of a sudden, couples that was once upon a time lovey-dovey, going out to eat every Friday night with the family, attending church on Sunday, prayer service on Wednesday night. All of a sudden, these individuals just could not be underneath the same roof. Divorce went up, separations went up, death of spouses went up, and of course, my angels, children, deaths went up, babies, deaths went up. What do I want the most? If I had to say, what is it to choose two things, what do I want the most to happen in this country and in others? Wow, that's a big question. What do I want the most? If anything, I would want this world, this country, and all them other countries turn over their lives to Christ, because He's the only God. I know. I'm gonna hear a lot of folks saying, why you trying to convert people to your God, your Christianity? It's not about that. It's not about that. I asked myself, what is it I want? And I told myself, what is it I want? But then we would be living in a perfect world. And if we lived in a perfect world, there would definitely not be any crime. So then, hey, but yeah, that would be my biggest wish, prayer, that more and more people turn their lives over to God, because Satan is on a rampage. For those of you who really know what I'm talking about, he's on a rampage. If you read Revelation, it will tell you. Matthew, it will tell you. And so much and all that has to happen before he returns. So what are you going to do? Oh, okay. I see. Some going to say, oh, well, I got time. No, you don't. No, you don't. You think you have time. But the Bible said no one will know when the Lord will return. Because he's going to return like a twinkling of an eye. So if you don't have your life right now, if you don't have your life right now, but I'm not going to say no more about that. I'm going to stick to domestic violence. Because there's so much to talk about with domestic violence. But I'm going to still focus my attention on the men for a while. Men. How do you expect for society to represent you? Or shall I say, call you a man if you're behaving like a child? Let me say that again. How do you expect society to call you or see you as a man if you're behaving like a child? What do I mean by that? Tantrums. Your wife, your significant other, your partner, your girlfriend, whatever you call them nowadays, do not cook the meal you like. Do not wash your uniform for the next day for work when you've asked her. Hear what I'm saying? When you've asked her, not told her or delegated to her, but you've asked her, yet she did not do it. Do you, multiple choice question here, throw temper tantrums and a rage? A. Do you interrogate her and ask her, why didn't she do it? That's B. Or 3, do you, or should your response be, okay, no problem, baby, I got it. I know you've been busy. If you're smart, the answer would have been C. Women were not placed on this earth, men, to cook for you, to clean for you, and to and to fetch for you. That's not what women were placed on this earth for. And if you want to really find out what women were placed on this earth for, why don't you open up your Bible and start reading Genesis? Okay. You'll find out why, when, and for what purpose a woman was placed on this earth for and for you. Women, I have a question for you. Just because you and your significant other, partner, husband, boyfriend, whatever names you millennials call it today, don't give you what he initially promised you prior to you guys coming together and becoming really serious, whether it was a ring, a necklace, what are them silly name brand bags, Dewey or whatever, Louis and all that mess. Yeah, as you can see, I'm old school. And I'm sure there are women my age that's into that too. I'm not into the material things. I'd rather spend my money on a vacation, investing, you know what I'm talking about? Building generational wealth for my grandchildren, you know what I'm talking about? Opposed to spending $700,000, $800,000 on a bag. Another topic, another day. But women, if he does not, or he, she, they, them, okay? If that individual does not give you what you want, because, and since they said they will, but all of a sudden they're not able to, what do you do? A, disrespect that man and call him every name there is underneath the sun. B, say, well, if you don't give it to me, I know who will. C, say, or your response should be, I understand, babe. You know, it's okay. You're more important than the material things. Your answer should have been C. But again, we have so many grown bodies with children mentality, lacking social skills, lacking communication skills, and carrying unresolved issues, baggages from childhood into your relationships as adults. I don't want to hear about Black folks don't believe in counseling. Well, you know what? Right now, Black folks are the high when it comes to domestic violence. Right now, sad to say, for all of you who don't believe in counseling, you might as well try it. As Dr. Phil would say, what you're doing, what you have been doing, how's it working out for you? It cannot be helping you that much, because if so, when you have a happy marriage, would you be putting your hands on your significant other? And would children be dying, dropping like flies on the wall? Seek counseling, my people. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Seek counseling because you need it. And those of you with the mental health issue, I don't want to hear about, oh, she's, being mean about mental health, or she's talking bad about mental health. I got mental health issues. But you know what? I get it taken care of. I'm not out here killing folks. Not that it don't cost me mine, but I'm just kidding. All jokes aside, have a little sense of humor. Trust me, nobody out here is worth me spending times behind bars for. Not a one. Not a one. But on a serious tip, people that are battling with mental health is nothing to play with. If you're supposed to be on a certain medication, please get on your medication. There's no such thing as, well, I can't afford it, because there are resources, local resources for people who have Medicaid, Medicare, or don't even have insurance at all. Okay? You cannot continue to go through life expecting for everything to be given to you or just handed to you, or for someone out of the clear to just walk up to you and say, here, this is for you. I've heard you've been going through this and this will help you. No. Sometimes we have to take accountability and responsibility for what we need. It's our responsibility. It's no one else's. Oh, I haven't even touched on elder abuse. Oh, yeah. There's such thing as elder abuse. And so many vulnerable, innocent, elderly seniors are being assaulted by their own adult children or grandchildren. Now that's sad. That's sad. You people need help. Serious help. Serious help. And I know I'm going to get it from left and right. People everywhere is going to probably just jump at, throwing in comments about, well, what do she know? She don't know this, she don't know that. I know more than what people give me credit for. And I know how to use my voice too. You know what the best thing that ever happened to me in the last few years? I retired from my job. Due to medical reasons. I couldn't sit too long. As you can see, I'm constantly moving around, twirling in my seat because I can't sit too long. I can't stand too long. I can't bend without having to hold on or having someone to help me get back up, because I have serious damage to my knees and my lower back and my head. But that was the best thing, because now I can voice my concerns. I can address the taboos that a lot of people are not able to address because of the type of work that they're in, and they can get fired. That's a downside when you're working for a company or working for someone and not working for yourself. So you may want to consider working for yourself and start building your own generational wealth for your grandchildren. Because our grandchildren should not have to struggle like our children did, and like how I did in my generation and my parents' generation. My people, you need to start investing. You need to start making plans for your children's future. And with that meaning, if your children are seeing you raise your voice at their mother, you're damaging them. If your significant other or husband if your significant or if your child is seeing you raise your voice, yell at, scream, cuss at their father, you're damaging them. Back in the day, yes, trust me, I've heard so many cuss words. Oh my goodness, back in the 70s and 80s, I'm sure in the 60s, but I was born in the 60s, so I don't know too much about the 60s. But back in the 70s and 80s, shoot, grandparents, aunts, uncles, they will call you stupid in a heartbeat. Are you stupid? To the point, like many have said, and I've even said to the point, when you're little, you think that your name is stupid. And I've heard many comics say that. But that is the truth. Because back in the day, parents and relatives, they'll call you out your name in a heartbeat. And as a child, you don't think anything of it because to you, it's normal. But it's not normal. I have grandchildren. I have never called my grandchildren. Matter of fact, I don't even recall ever calling my children when they was young, are you stupid? No. I just can't phantom a parent, a caregiver, guardian telling a child they're stupid. A lot of things that happened to me as a child, I look back and I see today. And even when I was raising my own children, and now that I have my own grandchildren, I see things so totally different in a whole new light, different perspective. So different. Can I blame my parents? Can I blame my caregivers for the damage that they caused me to suffer growing up? No, because they did what they knew at that time. Same thing with my generation, how I raised my children who are now adults. I did what I had to do at that time. I raised them according to how I wanted to raise them. I didn't raise them like how I was raised by my paternal grandparents or that side of the family. I didn't raise them how my mom raised me. I raised them differently. I don't ever recall ever receiving a hug or ever hearing my mother ever say, I love you. She may have. I never heard it. But I made a promise to myself that when I had children, they was going to hear, I love you every day. They was going to get hugs every day. I believe the last time I hugged and kissed my son when he was in high school was when he was 14 because he was so embarrassed. And even his friends, cracked up about it because I had just dropped him off to kiss and said, I love you. And he was like, Mom. And on my father's side, ever saying I love you or even give me a hug. Now on my mother's side, yeah, my mother may not have given it, but I've had aunts, my mother's sisters, they hug. They told you that they love you right after they cussed you out for doing something you had no business doing. But I love my aunties, my mother's sisters. I love them all. I love them dearly. They've always had all of their nieces and nephews back. They always protected us when my mother wasn't around. Yeah. Even my uncles on my mother's side. Yeah. I don't recall them saying I love you. I don't recall my uncles ever saying that. I mean, I only recall one uncle who's no longer with us giving me a hug. But at least I got more hugs and I love yous from my mother's side of the family opposed to my father's side of the family. 100. But next episode that I will come to you about will be focused on what it was like growing up being or being oh my tongue being subjected to not substance abuse, being subjected to child abuse. I'm sorry. My mind is just rambling on about so many topics that I want to cover in the future. But the main one I want to address the next time I come on will be about child abuse. For me, growing up in my paternal grandparents' home, day in, day out, every day, all day, 365 days out of the year. So please stay tuned for that episode or that podcast, shall I say, that live podcast, because it's going to be deep, and I'm going to tell you in advance. It may trigger some of you, especially if you were subjected to the type of abuse I was subjected to, um, beginning at age 7 that I can remember, and going on into when I was sweet 16. But today, I just want you all to be aware and know that domestic violence is on the rise. And I can't wait. Oh my goodness, that I can't wait. I know I'm just dancing all over everything, but there's so much information I want to share with you guys. But I'm so excited about August 26th. I will be facilitating a um, 8 weeks boot camp on domestic violence, the beginning, the middle, the post, what happens after domestic violence, how to become sustainable again after domestic violence. That's going to be very interesting because I reached out to several married couples who have been married for at least 15 years or more. And my mother asked, well, why do you just ask for those who's been married for 15 years or more? I said, because 10 years, you know, that's not a big thing to me because I was married for 8, but legally separated for 3 in my first marriage. And then in my second one, let's see, I was only married, what, 3, 4, maybe 5 years? So 10, I was still, even though I didn't make it to 10, I made it to 8. And if things didn't transpire the way that it did, probably would still be together if domestic violence wasn't a factor. So 10 years is not a big thing to me. 15, 20, 25. Let me hear 30. 35. Yeah, those are the ones I'm interested in hearing. What, how, when, where, how did you meet this person? Did you like them when you first met them? Or did they have to grow on you for a while? And how long did you date? Did you date a month, 2 months, 6 months before he, she, they, them popped the question? And what does it take to keep a successful and happy marriage? These are some of the things that's going to be going on and being asked during the 8-week boot camp. So I'm so excited, and I'm hoping, and I already put the prayer out there, so it's done. But I pray that God will bring so many. I just want that boot camp to just overflow, because I'm certain there's going to be some things I'm going to learn that I didn't know when I got married the first time and the second time. My first marriage was due to all kinds of abuse. Anything you can think of, that's what I experienced. My second one was just more or less verbal and emotional, but I got out of that one before it even reached to the physical. So I'm certain during this 8-week boot camp, there are going to be some things I'm going to learn from hearing these married couples, the do's and the don'ts, what the Bible said. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, because no one has all the answers. And in order for this, I know, in order for a marriage to be a successful one, There has to be communication. You have to be able to talk to one another. That I know. If I don't know anything else about a successful marriage, I know communication ranks at the top. I'm not going to say it ranks number one because God ranks number one. And if you don't have God as head of your household in your marriage, then you might as well forget about all the rest because everything else is going to crumble. That I know. And I also know about being unequally yoked because that's what I did in my first one, even though I was told not to get married, but I did it anyway. So we reap what we sow. I own it. I take accountability for it. I take responsibility. I'll take some other responsibility. But when it comes down to the domestic violence portion, I'm not taking none of that because I'm not guilty to any of that. None of that was my fault. None of it. I don't care what I said, what I did, whatever. Domestic violence is never a reason or an answer to put your hands on your spouse, your girlfriend, significant other, your partner, whatever names y'all giving them today. It's never a reason. So that I won't take the blame on that one. But I know that there's some things about being married I don't know about. Will I ever find out? I don't know. But at this moment, and at this chapter in my life, Yolanda's not trying to walk down the aisle again. No, nobody, no sir, no ma'am, no. I'm happy being with Yolanda. I'm happy with me. I enjoy doing what I do. I enjoy reaching out to people. I enjoy traveling to speak. I enjoy um, helping people get through the madness of it all. Um, I enjoy encouraging people. I enjoy empowering people. I enjoy giving hope to the hopeless. Those are things I enjoy doing. Um, I can't see myself. I'm not gonna say it won't happen. I'm just saying I cannot at this time in my life, this chapter in my life, see myself focusing all my attention on one person. And that's what, to me, what I see marriage is about. Because when you get married, you're no longer just you. It becomes you and that person. If you decide, hey, you know what, I want to go take a walk, you can't just up and walk out your house without telling your significant other, baby, I'm getting ready to go take a walk. You want to go with me? You can't just decide you want to go and sit down in a restaurant by yourself, at a table by yourself, in a booth by yourself, without your significant other. You can't say, well, babe, I'm gonna go check out and go get me a table at Red Lobsters or Olive Garden, or I'm just gonna go and you know go get me a meal. Okay, you can't do that. You can't just get up and go places without notifying your significant other. And how long has it been now? Let's see. Since, oh boy, it's been a long time. Where I have not had to tell somebody what I'm doing, where I'm going, who I'm doing it with, what I don't have to worry about that. Now, rightfully so. If I'm going out of town for an event of some sort, a speaking engagement or anything of that nature, if I'm going to visit some friends and in a city that's 2-3 hours away, something like that, trust me, rest in the sure, someone knows where I am and what I'm doing. Because I always let somebody know what I'm doing. Always. So don't think I just come and go as I choose and fit without telling anybody. Someone knows where I am at all times. I make that a habit. I may be, let me see my calendar. Let me see. I may be, let's see. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I may be, well, I really didn't have to count that. I could have saw that. I may be 10 days away from being 58 and 2 years away from being 60. But guess what? Somebody know where I am at all times. I'm not that grown, or I'm not. Yeah, I'm gonna use the word grown. Yes, I'll be 58 in less than 2 weeks. But as a responsible adult, I use responsible adult. I let someone know where I am at all times. And if I meet someone and if we decide to go to a restaurant, you can rest assured I got my phone. Somebody know where I am at all times. And I'm sharing that because so many of you millennials, yes, I'm sorry, I got to talk about you. I have to. So many of you get to the point in your life, whether you in your early 30s, mid 30s, late 30s, you think that you're invincible. Nothing is going to happen to you. But guess what? I'm sure a lot of those young women thought the same thing. Those young girls thought the same thing. The ones who are currently being sex trafficked, and those who were able to survive sex trafficking and are home safely with their loved ones. I'm certain they didn't think that anything could happen to them either. Let me put some little Vaseline on my lips. My lips getting a little. I don't want to start licking my lips. Don't want to start licking my lips. Yeah, that's a lot better. Yeah. So don't think you're invincible. And I'm not only talking about the young ladies or the young girls. The young ladies are the ones who are 18 and older. Okay? I'm going to give you that respect and call you a young lady. Young girls are the ones that's 17 and down who leave home and think that you don't have to tell your mother, your caregiver, or whomever is taking care of you, where you going, who you're doing it with, who's the person, where do they live, who's their mama, who's their daddy. Yes, I'm talking about you young girls. And then going back to you young ladies who are off in college, thinking that you're invincible even in college. You're not invincible. You are far from being invincible. Once upon a time, there was human trafficking. Human trafficking is still going on. But you know what? And I bet a lot of you don't even know. Sexual trafficking is going on now. How are they doing it? What's the difference? Well, my understanding from a close colleague who has expertise in this area because of a loved one of theirs was subjected to it. My understanding is they'll start off as reaching out to your daughter, your son, as a friend. Then they become boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, and all that good stuff. But are they really being genuine? Are they really being authentic? What is their MO? I say MO because I have, I'm pride service. MO. What are their intentions? Really, their intentions. But that's not all. They pretty much get comfortable with your family. Yeah, comfortable with your family to a point where your family start trusting them. Oh, they won't hurt Sally. They won't hurt Billie Jean. They won't hurt Shaquita. They won't hurt Day Day. They won't hurt Pookie. You know why? Because they know they have the families. Yeah, the families. Assurance that they're nice people, but they're really not. This is you need to stop introducing, bringing people who you just meet, stranger danger, to meet your family. Get to know them before you start bringing them around your family. When you do that and your family start liking them, the family are not going to think once that they are the ones who sex trafficked you or kidnapped you. No. Family not going to think that. Why? Because the family likes you. The family likes your significant other, your stranger danger that you introduce to everyone. You don't even know them. From a can of beans to the tea in China, you don't even know them. So why are you bringing them around your family? You set yourself up. You're setting yourself up when you meet a stranger danger and only have known them a week, a month, and you bring them around your family. Stop doing that. You better start seeing people as stranger danger until you really get to know them and stop bringing them around your family. But yeah, young people, you millennials who think you're invincible and nothing can happen to you, well, guess what? A lot of kidnappings, child molestations happens right under your nose, in your backyard. It could be your neighbor. And a lot of times, and if you Google about history, about pedophiles and child molesters, serial rapists, all of that, you will find oftentimes it's in your backyard. It's your neighbor. The one who you wave to every morning. Good morning, Mr. Woodrow. Yes, it's your neighbors. Keep an eye on your neighbors, especially when they get too friendly. And I'm sure some folks are gonna say, "Oh, she being paranoid." No, I'm not. No, I'm not. My eye is on everyone in my neighborhood. I see everything. I don't have to be friendly or say good morning to you for me to keep my eye on you. And guess what? I'm even watching out for your kids. Yes, the ones that come out and go up and down the block and ride the bikes. I'm watching your children for you. Once upon a time, during my time, adults stood outside, watched their children when they were outside on the block playing. Whether that adult was sitting right there in one of them beach lawn chairs, they were out there watching their kids. That's why a lot of children are coming up missing, snatched, kidnapped, because parents not watching them. And I hear parents say, well, I work and my child come home from school, they go ahead and do what they got to do and they go outside, I give them permission. But you're not home. You're not home. So how you watching them? Why can't they stay indoors until you arrive home and then they get to go outside? I've seen babies, I call them babies, as 4 and 5 years old, riding their bikes alone on the block. my 4 or 5 year old riding their bike to school, let alone riding around the block without me outside watching or riding alongside with them or working while they riding. No, I didn't do it back then when my kids was young. Definitely not going to do it with my grandkids. No, I'm not going to give a stranger danger a chance, not even an iota of snatching anybody in my family if I can help it. Especially none of the children. Children are off limits. Oh my gosh. I started out trying to explain to you millennials about you need to let people know where you're going. Okay, Sally Sue calls you up or texts you. Nowadays, it's like, oh, you guys do anyways, texting. You don't pick up the phone and talk to somebody. You got to communicate everything through texting. I'm surprised a lot of you even know how to write your name, with an ink pen. Anyway, many of you go out to clubs still. I can't even recall the last time I even been to a club. Oh my God. Last time I been to a club was in what? Early 90s, something like that. Anyway, I digress as I'm continuously keep doing. Many of you leave your home. You're still living with mom and dad, grandparents, or whomever, is your caregiver. But you leave home oftentimes to go see a friend. Family don't even know where you are. Excuse me. Then, if a family member asks you where you going, oh, that's my business. Why you all up in my business? Why you all up in here? Stop the madness, please. We don't care where you're going, what you're doing. We just need to know, just in case, if something happens and you're accused of something, we can say, no, that's not true because so-and-so said she or he, they, them were going over here. So it's not possible for them to have been over there. Do you get what I'm saying, young people? It's not about us wanting to be all up in your business. Hell, y'all even don't even have any business, half of you. So stop with all of this, family trying to be in your business. Nobody trying to be in your business. We're trying to keep you butt safe. Because this is a different time. Yes, we in a different time, different era. Okay? And the stats are high up against you, the millennials, the Gen X's. Yes. No, I'm sorry, not the Gen X's. That's me. The Gen X and the Gen Z's. I'm sorry, Gen Z's and the Alphas. Okay, Alphas are the little ones that are just coming up. But the coins, ching ching, coins are being stacked up against you because there's a high commodity for sexual trafficking, human trafficking, high commodity. And guess what? They're snatching them up younger and younger and younger and grooming them. 4-year-olds to sex. Grown people. Oh my gosh. I don't know what more I can say. For you people to watch your children, watch your babies, and you millennials, you Gen Zs, please stop acting like you're invincible. Too many of you are coming up slaughtered, laying in the ditch, dead. Too many of you. Why? Because you're being irresponsible. You're not telling people where you're going, who you're going where with. And you're too easy and too relaxed and trusting every person you meet for the first time. Don't be so quick just because someone giving you the teeth and smiling and saying you beautiful and all this good stuff. So what? So what? That. Don't fall for that. And the easy way not to fall for someone giving you compliments, give yourself affirmations. If you have to post it, write some posted stickers and post it all up in your home, in your bedroom, around your mirror. I love me. I'm beautiful. I'm enough. If you have to do that in order for you not to fall for these predators out here telling you that, then so be it. You need to do that because that's the only thing that's going to save you from these predators. Because there's so many of them out here. So many. And they lying in wait like a daggone lion. They are lying in wait, waiting for the right opportunity to snatch up a child, snatch up a young person who think they're invincible and nothing can happen to them. They're lying in wait to the right opportunity. And when the right opportunity comes, they will eat you up and spit you out when they're through with you. And pray to God that you survive. Well, I'm going to end it here, but I will be back. Maybe today, maybe later today, maybe tomorrow. I don't know. But if the mood hit me, I just may be back on another topic, or I may continue right from where I left off at. So, the only thing I can tell you, stay tuned. It's going to get really juicy up in here. All right. Well, I guess that is my cue, and I'm going to shut it down. And this was, what do you say? Real Talk with Yolanda. Bye-bye.